Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. The lighting's maybe not all that great. I'm in Jasmine's room going to do a little short video. This is a mindful crochet video. I managed to get back on to my current channel again after the last issues with my wee son having a meltdown and smashing the phone. I managed to recover my YouTube account, which was fantastic. So I'm back on making videos again. Unfortunately, my Easter video, which I done with the reborn dolls, is on the other channel, but I haven't changed the dolls back yet into other clothes, so I might redo that Easter video. It's just going to be a late one. But I'm here today with Mindful Crochet and to show you the finished Crochet Sensory fidget mats, which I did for my two children. And this is little Mitzi tired out after her little escapee stunt she pulled earlier on. I have two escapee artists. Mitzi's lying here at the minute, and Simba's in my bed, on my bed. And oh, honestly, the two of them, they're both indoor cats, but as some of you know, Simba's harness trained, and he goes outside on his harness. He's voice trained as well, so he doesn't go in the lead, just on the harness. And he knows the boundaries are within the garden. He knows not to go for the birds. The robin sits right beside him and he does not touch it. And he comes back in again. So when he gets out, when I'm supervised. So Mitzi here is in harness training as well. She can put it on over her head, no problem, but she's just very stubborn and she refuses to wear it, but still wants to go outside when Simba goes outside and come back in with him. So what happened was, not part of the video, but a funny story. What happened was I had left the bathroom window open to let a bit of air in earlier on, and Simba can open every door in the house. He can open drawers, he can open cupboards, he can open the fridge, and yes, when the windows are open, he can push them on out and climb on out the window. There's nothing that boy cannot do. It was his birthday on Wednesday past, and he was 3, and Jasmine had a birthday party for him, but he was not interested in a birthday party. He was the most disinterested I've ever seen him. Um, and so anyway, getting back to the window story. So I was coming up the stairs just before I was due to start dinner, and the bathroom door was open, and I looked, and there's Simba's bum hanging out the window. So I seen him, and I says, right, you need to come back in. And he did reluctantly come back in. I closed the window. I didn't know Mitzi was still outside. I closed the window, I cleaned the windowsill, and sent him to my room. Then he lay down and went to sleep and didn't even think to tell me that his mother was outside. So anyway, 20 minutes later, I was making the dinner and I'm standing washing my hands at the sink, and I happened to look up. I have a little sort of veranda bit for my porch out the back, and I looks up and there's Mitzi looking at me from the corner of the house. Well, I nearly crapped myself, and I shouted to my partner and the two kids, oh my God, she's outside. But she was trying to prove a point. She's outside, weren't you? She's outside, and we hurried outside with her favourite dreamies or chicken nuggets. Could we get her to come down? She wouldn't come back in the bathroom window. We opened Jasmine's window. This is where I am at the minute. And because he escaped out her window the last time, I had the windows open. And eventually she did come back in. She's daddy's girl. She came back in for daddy through Jasmine's window, and she got lots of treats and all the rest. But she was outside for 20 minutes sunning herself on the mini veranda. So she was kind of, I think, proving a point to me, that she's not going to go anywhere. She just wants outside to enjoy the garden, the same as Simba, and come back in with him again without, I think she's trying to say to me she can be trusted to go out without a harness. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm telling you, these two cats keep me on my toes a lot more than what the two kids do. So let's get down. As you can see, this is Jasmine's bed cover. Of course, it has to be ginger kittens and all her teddies, a mixture of kittens, Minecraft, and Scooby Toilet up there. And she just loves to lie. This is one of her favourite spots. And the other favourite spot is on a blanket just across from Jasmine's window. The sun just shines in there perfectly in the morning, and it's the perfect sunspot. And that's where she is in the morning time. So let's get down and have a look at these. So this is Jasmine's Sensory mat. We'll maybe start with this one first. So she chose two colours. Now this is my own design. I didn't follow a pattern. I had looked at patterns for these sensory fidget mats, but everybody was doing cuffs to put on your arm. And I thought, no, the kids will only wreck it if I do it like a cuff to put on their arm. So I thought, then I had thought about doing, if you remember, I talked about in one of the videos about doing little books. So it would have been pages about this size and about maybe 5 pages in the book and something different stuck onto each of the crochet pages. And then I thought, no, that's going to take too long to put together and sew together. And I thought, right, I'll do 2 little rectangles like this and I'll sew them together and then sew the stuff on the outside. So you've got stuff on this side and you've also stuff on that side. So she picked yellow. I done hers in chunky wool and she picked yellow for this side. This is a fleecy thing she has. This is her red felt because this was her favorite color. This is some organza. You also have then the wool to fiddle with as well, which I have used cotton double knit to sew everything on with. She's got this lovely little purple button, another one of her favorite colors. Red and purple's her favorite color. She's got these little textured buttons, I got them as well to fiddle with. And then Daniel says there's also the added bonus, he says, of the texture of the wool. So that's true. Then we come round this side and she picked a wee square of leather. She picked a little soft part of Velcro and she picked, sorry Mitzi, she picked some scratchy Velcro. And of course she had to pick some kitten buttons. So I think she said this was Bobby, the wee cat next door. This was Simba. And this one with a wee bit of ginger was supposed to be Mitzi. And of course she picked these in. You can flick those up and fiddle with those. And of course you have the softness of the mat. Obviously you have to be careful because this sticks to everything. So that's what she chose, and she chose purple on this side because that was her favorite color. And she chose the yellow then on the other side, and then I used the purple to slip stitch it together. So it's really, really thick. I used just the double crochet UK terms because I wanted a firm stitch with not too many holes that was going to be able to withhold the sewing on of stuff. If I had done this in treble, the spaces would have been too big and the stuff wouldn't have been able to have been securely sewed on. Daniel then chose this blue. Now his was supposed to be done both sides with this chunky blue. Oh, the lighting's one out here. He was supposed to be chunky both sides blue. His is a little smaller because the color I used underneath, he's seen this on my Amazon when I was ordering something else, and he says to me, Mummy, I want that colour for the other side of my sensory mat. And I says, that's Aran, so or Aran wool, so it's going to be slightly smaller. So I mean, I did use the same hook size, I think, for this. It was 5.5mm, but Jasmine's come out slightly bigger because of the chunky wool used for both panels. This side was chunky and this side was Aran. Again, the 5.5 hook, but Daniel's has come out a little bit smaller than Jasmine's. So he has got blue velvet on this side, his blue felt, and his soft side of the Velcro. Then he chose this type of button. It's quite a smooth one. Then he chose this one, and then he chose a green dinosaur button. And then he says, of course, he's got the adult thing because he loves the feel of the wool. It's so soft. And then on this side, this is beautiful wool. You can't really see the blue running through it here and the green because I popped this over the top. But I am currently working on a summer top for myself. I fell in love with this ombre Iran wool. It's got different lime greens, wee dark turquoise green, then it's got blues in it. It really is beautiful, and I fell in love with this color. It was so calming and so relaxing to crochet with that I've decided now I'm going to make myself a top in this Aran wool. So that is going to be interesting. So on this side, he got his leather, he wanted his organza, and he wanted his scratchy Velcro, and then he picked the blue textured buttons. He picked a cat button, and he also picked a dinosaur button, and I managed to sew a black cat button over here as well. In fact, he seems to have a little bit more buttons on his than what Jasmine had on hers, and maybe could have added another couple of buttons down here. But I am not very good at sewing things on. I'm in the middle of a video, darling. I'm not very good at sewing things on. As you can see, I'm showing off your sensory fidget mats for YouTube. You're going to have to hang on. I can't have this in the video, and I'm not restarting. It's 9 minutes. I'll be down in 10 minutes. So yeah, I'm not very good at sewing stuff on. I never was very good at hand sewing, which is why I slip stitched this closed instead of sewing it. But I'm not very good at sewing, as you can see, and it was really, really, really difficult and sore in my hands trying to get the needle up through the wool and up through each of these bits to sew on. The buttons were fine, but each of these materials here. So this is not something I would want to add to my orders. This is not something I would want to be making regularly. I just wanted to see if I could make sensory fidget mats, and Jasmine and Daniel wanted one each. So that's that, but I will not be making these again. Definitely not. I'm going to do my top now, and then after my top, I think I'm going to do something to do with granny squares. I have never ever done a granny square yet. I know, can you believe it? I've been crocheting for 5 or 6 years and I've never done a granny square. To be honest, they have never really interested me. But I would like to do, my mother does seamless granny square blankets, and I've been wanting to try one of those in some of that wool that I got that I'm still trying to get down through, and people just keeps giving me more wool, which I can use for granny squares as well. And I also fancy a granny square bag as well. So I'm going to see after my top if I can maybe do a seamless granny square blanket or a granny square bag, and see if I can find out what this craze is, what this addiction is with these granny squares. Because when I first learned to crochet, usually that's what beginners, when you go to a beginner's crochet class, usually that's what they teach a beginner, is how to make a granny square. And then it's granny square blankets and everything you can think of made with granny squares. But that never ever interested me. My first project when I learned to crochet, though I was self-taught, I didn't go to a class, was a washcloth. And then after the washcloths, I think I started doing winter hats and scarves and neck warmers. So the granny squares never really appealed to me. They never really interested me. But because I've been given so many balls of tiny wool, and different things like that, I've decided to see what the craze is about granny squares. So it remains to be seen whether, when I do my first granny square, what I think of it. Whether I will now become part of the craze and be addicted to doing everything granny square. So well, we'll have to find out and see. I will keep you posted. And I have started my summer top already, and I can't wait to show you all. I am following slight guidance to a pattern. I was going to try it myself, but this wool is so beautiful that I don't really want to go off my own accord. I've done I've done a crochet course, and I could get out my notebook again, and go through my notes, and I could probably design my own top, but it would take a while, and time is of the essence. As you all know, time is precious, and busy mums like me don't have an awful lot of time. And because this is such a beautiful wool, what happens is sometimes if I do try and design something myself without using the pattern as guidance, I don't use the pattern to a T. I put my own twist on it, but I do use a pattern as guidance. But if I was to go off on my own accord, which I have done once before, and it didn't work out well, and make something with nice wool and all the rest, and it maybe not turn out right, then that would really annoy me, and I would just end up throwing the thing in the bin, and I wouldn't be wanting to do anything again, because I would feel that I have wasted my time and I have wasted the wool. But that's just my personal feelings about my crochet. I don't like to waste wool, and I don't like to waste my time. So therefore I am using a pattern for guidance. It is mainly just double crochet that I'm using for this top, and it's going to have straps on it. I also would wanted to do the next thing I'm about to say for a very long time. I've wanted to do a crochet dress, in particular a crochet wedding dress, but getting married is not on the cards for me. So I was thinking of trying to do myself a crochet summer dress. So the crochet top that I'm doing for myself is sort of like a practice piece, to see if I can actually crochet using a pattern as guidance, to do an item of clothing for myself. And if the top turns out well, then that will give me the confidence to try the dress, which is obviously going to be maybe a longer project than the top. And as you know, I tend to stick to quick and easy projects, because if I'm going to be working on something for a very long time and it's not what I call a mindful pattern, as in it's not the same stitch repeat, then I will often kind of get bored of that or overwhelmed, and then I'll just not want to finish it. and I hate not finishing something. I'm going to have to head on here though, so I just wanted to show you those quickly because my two's starting to argue downstairs, so I'll have to go down and sort them out. But that is Jasmine's on that side. As you can see, his probably is a bit neater because it's smaller than Jasmine's big thick one, but they have held pretty well, and the kids seem to be pleased with them, and they might actually need to use them now because Daniel, I can hear him starting to get into a meltdown. So I'm going to head. I hope you've enjoyed that little video with my little helper today, Mitzi Moo, and her funny story. And pardon me, I'll be back soon, maybe with a work in progress of the top. And I'll also be back with a craft video on card making this week as well. And perhaps maybe try to squeeze in a reborn doll video if I can manage it too. But I have a lot of spring cleaning I want to do this week now when the kids go back to school, and gardening and different things like that, some photography. So I'm kind of booked up this week, but I'll try and see what I can fit in. So I hope you all are enjoying that lovely sunshine that we've managed to get today, at least over here in Northern Ireland. And I'll chat to you all again soon. Bye.